Hello and welcome to Palace Intrigue. I am your host, Mark Francis. We're continuing our weekend bonus episodes recapping Season 5 of The Crown. Yesterday we covered episodes 5 and 6, and you can find recaps of episodes 1 through 4 and seasons 1 through 4 earlier in the feed. In episode 7 we catch up with Diana, who is separated. She's nervous about William starting Eton boarding school because he's always been her rock. Diana and Charles drop William off at the boarding school together as cameras click and reporters scream at the young prince. They can't get through the outing without arguing. Charles accuses her of smothering William, and she counters that it's simply mothering. We meet journalist Martin Bashir, who wants to interview Diana. Bashir forges bank statements to imply that people surrounding Diana and her brother Charles Spencer are being paid to spy on her. Why does he do this? On her way to meet Charles Spencer, whom she hasn't spoken to in 2 years, her brakes stop functioning. She thinks they may have been tampered with, or maybe her car is just due for a service. The Queen invites William over for tea. Diana asks William to put in a good word for her, and when William brings it up, Elizabeth acts surprised. The Queen asks William, "Do you worry about her?" she asks, and when William confirms that he does, she says, "It's not right for a child to worry about a parent." Elizabeth calls a meeting with Margaret, who draws parallels between herself and Diana, both sensitive and stylish people, but ultimately says she knows nothing about Diana. The system isn't easy for people like us, but that doesn't mean we talk. We end with a meeting between Diana and Bashir. Diana tells Bashir how good it feels to finally have someone on her side. Palace Intrigue will be right back. Vulture expertly sums up the beginning of episode 8. The Queen says, "Even the televisions are metaphors in this place," as William struggles to get an old TV to even be slightly watchable. Just when you think Peter Morgan couldn't be less subtle with his symbolism, there's this whopper waiting in the pre-credits scene. Isn't it nice how life can still surprise us? The Queen's speaking about how her appliance has passed its prime. Is this an admission that she is too? But the similarities between television broadcasting and the monarchy go broader here in a classic ideological tale of old guard versus new. Diana is worried about her interview, but Bashir is manipulating her even more. It's one thing to know Diana thought members of the firm and British officials were plotting against her, but it's especially heartbreaking that she falsely believed her loved ones betrayed her as well. Diana has cold feet. Her brother Charles has found inconsistencies in Bashir's reporting and is urging her not to do the interview. Diana asks for clarification. Was it MI5 or MI6 that was spying on her? Bashir, an increasingly artful conspiracy theorist, says it could be both, or either. Also, her brother Charles is probably in on it too. Bashir suggests Diana subconsciously chose the date of the interview, Guy Fawkes Night, as her interview will be a symbolic act of rebelling against the Crown. Diana hilariously points out it's a pretty tough metaphor considering the 13 members of the gunpowder plot were hung, drawn and quartered. Bashir promises this will be different, and damning comparisons aside, she ostensibly agrees to move forward with the interview. Diana wants the Queen to hear about her interview from her. Elizabeth can't help but roll her eyes and curtly cuts her off. Hasn't this been discussed at length in the public eye, in the newspapers? Do they really need more of this? The Queen says, "The enemy you imagine I am, the hostility you imagine we all feel, is a figment of your imagination. All any of us want, Diana, is for you to be happy and one day to be our next Queen." We see a recreation of the interview, cut to Camilla just in time for Diana's famous line. "There were 3 of us in the marriage, so it was a bit crowded." Charles shakes his head in disappointment, but has no idea of the real bomb that is coming. When asked if Charles will ever be king, Diana effectively says no. He doesn't have what it takes. Charles can't cope with that and erupts, storming into the other room where he breaks into tears. At school, William is watching, and he too storms out of the room. We'll recap episodes 9 and 10 next weekend. Normal episode tomorrow. And there you have it. If you'd like to email us, our address is thepalaceintrigue@gmail.com. Please follow us on Spotify, iTunes, Google Podcasts, wherever you get your favorite shows. I'm Mark Francis. My thanks to John McDermott. This is Palace Intrigue. Good time.